Why aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan Markle?
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
Just here it comes.
Reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
This is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
And highlight the mucky murkiness and mendacious manner of this alleged yacht girl. According to her,
the one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
All they had to do was shut up and do nothing. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were probably going to get their best news cycle in years, because we know deep down they want to bring down the British royal family.
Harry and Meghan are back at it again, being disaster tourists, because apparently they have nothing better to do than waste government time and resources, in this case for the country of Jordan and the WHO and UN's time.
Health Organization, the government of Jordan, and others are making here is enormously appreciated. So thank you for coming. Why is a British ambassador welcoming them on a visit when Meghan Markle has trashed everything and Harry about the British government?
10 seconds, one joke, and suddenly everyone's talking. Colin Jost stood right on the most famous comedy stage in America, stared straight into the camera, and dropped a punchline that made the whole room freeze for a second. He said the royal family joked that the only way Prince Andrew becomes king is if it comes down to him or Meghan. The crowd groaned first, then the laughter hit, and then it got even louder. Even Colin Jost couldn't keep a straight face after saying it. You could see him trying not to laugh as the reaction kept rolling through the audience.
The royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
Oh my God, there's so many things to unpack in that joke. First of all, the groans are brutal.
Down to either him or Meghan.
It's like they don't want to laugh, but they do, because then, listen, they laugh. They're not that bad, sorry, but they know that was brutal. That's because again, it's like the only way he'll be king royal is if it's him or Meghan. They still would say no to Meghan.
And just like that, on live television, everything shifted. Meghan Markle's carefully built public image suddenly looked shaky, almost like it was cracking right in front of everyone watching. One sharp joke, one brutal moment, and the reaction spread fast across the room and across social media. But here's the twist most people aren't even talking about. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened.
I applaud a joke like this, because to me, Meghan and Harry are the fakest and most disingenuous people. They have such an entitlement. They have so much privilege. And for what? I'm so sick of it. I know you guys are you sick of it too?
Weeks earlier, the same show and the same presenter were already stirring the pot. Colin Jost stepped up and announced that President Trump had reached a brand new trade deal with Britain. Great news, he said, both countries win big. But then came the punchline that made the room explode with laughter. Britain had one special condition in return: America keeps Meghan Markle. The crowd burst out laughing instantly. And that reaction says a lot. A joke like that doesn't land unless people already recognize the setup and understand the reference right away. You don't write a line like that unless the cultural mood has already shifted. You don't say it live on TV to millions unless the writers, the producers, and the audience already feel the same tension in the air, and in that moment, it was obvious they did.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No! No! I refuse! I'm sick!
2 jokes, 2 different nights, and both of them landed perfectly. Within hours, the clips were flying all over the internet and going viral everywhere. What makes it even wilder is that this is the same show that for years treated Harry and Meghan like sympathetic figures, people caught in the middle of a harsh royal system and relentless media pressure. But now that same show turned Meghan into the center of not one but two punchlines. That doesn't happen by accident. Comedy writers pay close attention to the cultural mood, and they make decisions based on what the audience will react to. And what they seemed to read in that moment was clear. Meghan Markle had suddenly become the joke.
There's always a serious side to the SNL comedy. I don't usually agree with it because it's very left-wing. But effectively what they're saying here is that, yep, we agree, Meghan Markle, less popular than Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
And once a show like SNL turns you into the punchline, that spotlight gets brutal. No publicist, no carefully planned press strategy, no polished interview can easily flip that kind of narrative once it starts rolling. When late-night comedy locks onto a joke, it spreads everywhere fast. So the real question is, why now? Why does it suddenly feel like the mood around Meghan has shifted so sharply and so quickly? Because the pressure isn't just building anymore, it's hitting from all sides at once. And today we're breaking down every single moment that people say is adding to that storm.
And she is now living in denial. She thinks she can somehow pick up the pieces of her shattered life and resume what she used to do, which was, ligging money off people, coming up with rubbish projects, borrowing money, being paid for, and just generally jet-setting around the world freeloading. Well, nobody wants to know her anymore.
Let's slow down and look closely at what that joke is really pointing at. Prince Andrew, the royal whose BBC interview turned into one of the most disastrous TV appearances in modern British history. The moment that interview aired, the backlash was immediate and intense. His past connection to Jeffrey Epstein triggered massive controversy and public criticism. Not long after, he settled a civil case, lost his military titles, and was removed from official royal duties. Step by step, he was pushed completely out of the royal spotlight. That man,
The only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
SNL basically told millions of viewers on live television that the royal family would rather place him on the throne than Meghan Markle. And the punchline wasn't praising Andrew, it was pointing at how low Meghan's public reputation has dropped in that joke setup. The moment the line landed, the audience got it instantly. You could hear the groans, the laughs, and that wave of reaction moving through the room.
This savage comparison to Prince Andrew. This was on the Weekend Update section with Colin Jost, who has mocked Meghan before. Like, I gotta say, I think this one's the biggest roast yet. You ready for it? Here we go.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse.
Look at that. I gotta pause also for commentary purposes. That photo, my God, how did that get out? Oh, he looks, good. I'm not, but my God, he does look like a river corpse.
That groan right before the laughter hits. That sound says everything. It's the moment when a whole room recognizes the point of the joke at the exact same time. First comes that shocked reaction, then the laughs roll in, because everyone suddenly realizes what the punchline is really implying, and that mix of humor and discomfort makes the moment feel both hilarious and a little unsettling.
Of Meghan Markle's alleged, rumored...
But the connection to Andrew in that joke isn't just random comedy. There's a deeper layer most people don't even realize exists. The names Andrew and Meghan actually cross paths much further back than many viewers know. And between those two names sits a story that, according to many commentators, the mainstream media has shown very little interest in digging into or exploring in detail.
SNL skit, though, is just, this Weekend Update is hysterical because it's so true. And this is what works about comedy, is when it's true. And we all know that, yes, people would maybe prefer in some ways Andrew over Meghan Markle when it comes to the throne. And if Hollywood is even making jabs at her, you know she's offended a lot of people. We know she hasn't done good work in the entertainment industry. And people are taking notice. People are noticing, hey, that yeah, Meghan Markle may have this title, but nobody really likes her. Nobody buys her stuff. And so we have this situation here where it's just so rife and so perfect.
Before the Duchess title, Before the Oprah interview, before the Netflix deals, the Archewell Foundation, and the polished speeches about empowerment, there was Rachel Meghan Markle, the actress and lifestyle blogger trying to build her name in Hollywood. At that stage, she was known in certain social circles and seemed unusually well connected for someone still climbing the entertainment ladder, and now the internet has started digging back into that earlier chapter again. People online are asking questions about that version of Meghan, one that critics claim her team has worked hard for years to move past or keep out of the spotlight. Among the rumors circulating online are the so-called yacht girl allegations. The claim, repeated across blogs and forums, suggests that before meeting Prince Harry and before entering royal life, Meghan allegedly spent time socializing on luxury yachts owned by extremely wealthy and influential figures,
suggested that the then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
Not simply as a typical guest enjoying a luxury trip. The rumor circulating in certain online discussions claims she was there as what some people in those circles quietly describe as a paid companion.
Is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
Proven? No. But the claims are being talked about more and more by people online who say they have direct knowledge of those social circles. And here's the detail that keeps getting attention and makes the story harder for some commentators to simply brush aside. In her legal case connected to Jeffrey Epstein, Virginia Roberts Giuffre reportedly listed Meghan Markle as a potential witness, not randomly, but because she believed Meghan might have had direct or personal awareness of certain individuals and gatherings connected to that world.
Julia was Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014.
Retire, bitch!
Why would someone who later built a public image around humanitarian work have any direct knowledge of those specific social circles? That question has been raised repeatedly by critics and online commentators, and to this day, many of those voices argue that the question itself has never been clearly addressed.
Late Virginia Roberts wanted to call Meghan Markle as a witness, and she said it was exactly because Meghan Markle was a close past associate of Prince Andrew and would have seen or participated or been around whatever he was doing. Why isn't the press calling this out?
And then there's her former lifestyle blog, The Tig. On that blog, Meghan sometimes wrote in glowing, almost dreamy language about receiving exclusive invitations from powerful and influential people, the kind of invitations, as she once described them, that don't show up on public calendars or advertisements, the type of private events that only circulate quietly among certain elite social circles.
You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No
infiltrated?
Deal. Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament. She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my...
Back then, those posts on her blog came across as aspirational and glamorous. Just a young actress talking about big dreams, exciting connections, and the kind of lifestyle many people in entertainment hope to reach one day. But now, critics online are revisiting those same posts and reading them in a very different way. Some even claim she once kept a vision board that included Prince Harry before they ever met, something a person connected to her first husband reportedly confirmed.
Was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on.
Some critics argue she didn't simply stumble into the royal family by chance. They believe she moved toward that world with intense focus and careful planning. From that perspective, every step along the way starts to look deliberate. Every connection, every invitation, and every relationship with people who had the power to open the next door. And now, years later, those earlier connections and social circles are being looked at much more closely by people online.
The monarchy, what did you think it was going to be like?
Well, I didn't do any research about what that would mean.
You didn't do any research?
No. I've never looked up my husband online.
What? Let me introduce this thing called Google, okay? Over there, I think it's called Lori. It's full of useful information. For instance, turns out your husband knew Princess Di. That might have been a hint that this was going to be a rough gig. So while you're Googling, you might want to try the combo Andrew, Island, and Epstein.
And her response to all these questions spreading online? Total silence. No public statement, no direct denial. and no visible legal challenge addressing the rumors head-on, no social media message about speaking your truth, no detailed explanation, just quiet, while the speculation and discussions continue to spread across the internet.
Montecito, they are billionaires, they're superstars, and they don't like publicity. They live in Montecito to avoid photographers, and they believe that Harry and Meghan, with their pretty obvious courting, pursuit of publicity, are spoiling the privacy of Montecito.
This is someone who previously took legal action against a British newspaper over the publication of a private letter. Legal challenges have often been part of how her team has responded when stories appeared that they believed threatened her public image. So critics find the contrast striking. In past situations, responses came quickly and forcefully when her brand was on the line. But when it comes to these specific rumors circulating online, people point out that the response so far has been complete silence.
She's part of many scandals, yet the palace is interceding on her behalf. So are we under any doubt that this is any different? Because why are they getting that? Harry and Meghan Markle would not be able to spot kindness or charity, even if it slapped them.
Critics say the silence doesn't come across as dignified, especially for someone whose public image has often centered around speaking out and using her voice. To them, it looks more strategic than symbolic. Some commentators argue it feels like a team trying to figure out which problem to handle first, while several stories circulate at the same time. Because when a claim is clearly false, the usual playbook is fast and loud. Statements, legal responses, and public pushback. Instead, the silence itself has now become part of the conversation.
Where Page 6 revealed she's not even full-time employee, but working as a consultant basis. Foundation has also let go of 3 more employees. Alongside this, the charity has been rebranded Archewell Philanthropies, and Harry and Meghan transferred the Archewell Foundation Parents Network to another nonprofit group, Parents Together. Despite this, we're told the Jordan visit effectively gave the Sussexes an opportunity to see where their funding had gone. That's what it is. We paid for you guys, so we deserve a photo op.
Now here's the part that really got people talking. Old photographs have circulated online showing a younger Meghan Markle in the same setting as Prince Andrew. These images aren't recent at all. They date back to years before she ever met Prince Harry, during the time when Meghan was still working as an actress and steadily building connections while trying to move forward in her career.
Knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress actress.
At one point, she said she did not personally know Andrew, but critics online often point back to those old photographs that continue to circulate in discussions about their past social circles. Meanwhile, some people close to Andrew have hinted that he has been paying attention to the recent headlines, watching everything unfold with what observers describe as clear personal satisfaction.
Andrew's confiding to friends about the not-so-secret relationship with him and Meghan Markle, and this is why Prince Harry wants to end the marriage, and is so disgusted he can barely touch his woman.
Since you like that, here's another.
Think about that for a second. Here is a man who lost his titles, his public role, and his place in royal life, and yet some commentators now claim he may be watching this new wave of headlines with clear amusement. That contrast is exactly what has people talking. The same media that spent years closely examining Andrew has, according to critics, shown far less interest in exploring any broader connection people online keep speculating about between him and Meghan. And that's what makes the SNL punchline hit so hard for some viewers. In that joke, Meghan was framed as landing even lower in the public mood, and people are asking why.
Why is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual, and most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew?
While the internet kept digging through every corner of her past, Harry and Meghan were overseas in Jordan. It was presented as a humanitarian visit connected with the World Health Organization. Cameras were everywhere, photographers snapping images non-stop as the trip was documented and shared across the media.
They're very unlikable, and the reason is because they're so fake and disingenuous and aren't honest. Why were they in the Middle East doing this trip to Jordan? Now, again, we've touched upon it. I've said it over and over again, but I think it's important as even now Page 6 is coming out with more proof. They've shuttered the foundation, pretty much. Their whole charity organization is pretty much over. This latest quasi-royal trip is being questioned. after Page Six revealed that the couple has essentially shuttered their Archewell Foundation and let go nearly of all their staffers.
But critics say the reality behind those polished photographs tells a very different story. According to several reports and commentators, the Archewell Foundation has been struggling behind the scenes. Some claim staff departures and organizational changes have slowed things down dramatically, leaving far fewer visible programs and much less activity than people originally expected.
Meghan Markle couldn't even pass the foreign officer's exams test. And it's highly doubtful that she actually graduated from university because her picture at the Northwestern yearbook is not even there, in spite of the fact that they gave the students almost 2.5 weeks to schedule a time to get the picture taken. Allegedly, she's been very, very angry that the focus is on Prince Harry and not on her, in spite of her bad.
Critics argue that what remains most visible now is simply the optics, a camera crew, a public appearance, and carefully staged moments where they step into the spotlight and pose for the photographs.
Yeah, they have 2 staffers. Again, it sounds like on consultant basis, they're out of cash. This is all smoke and mirrors. They've been forced to downsize the staff as was costing them too much. And so, yeah, there it is.
One photograph from that trip caught a lot of attention and started circulating widely online. In the image, a senior Jordanian princess, an actual aunt of King Abdullah, was addressing the room. She stood there as a figure of established royal authority, speaking to the audience while the moment unfolded around her.
She always knows where the camera is, doesn't she? Everybody's listening to this lady, Prince Harry, everybody. Meghan's eyes directly to the camera. And, but that smile, there's nothing to smile about. It is incredibly creepy.
Critics pointed out something they believed stood out in that moment. While the royal speech was happening, Meghan appeared focused on where the cameras were positioned, adjusting her posture and angle as photographers moved around the room.
Look at these photo ops. How Meghan does it all to camera. Who else gets caught like this with photos? Like, when you're doing charity, do you often position yourself to be right near holding hands and make sure your face is presented to camera, and also having a camera person there to take these shots? It's all so orchestrated and manipulative.
And then there's another detail from that trip that critics online keep pointing out. During one moment in Jordan, Meghan sat beside a young burn survivor and smiled for the photographs while cameras captured the interaction. Some commentators argued the positioning and imagery reminded them of famous humanitarian photos of Princess Diana. According to certain insiders quoted in media discussions, Meghan has studied Diana's public image very closely over the years.
Go through what has happened so far since they touched down in Jordan and visited a specialty hospital in Amman, where Meghan, very much in Diana mode, Diana wannabe mode, held hands with a 14-year-old Gaza refugee burns victim and talked to doctors. They also watched a music class at the Quest Scope Youth Centre at the Zatari refugee camp near Mafraq and took part in a football discussion. Then things get really bad because they're teaming up with Dr. Tedros. Now, Dr. Tedros, bloke who ran the World Health Organization during COVID, one of the worst people in the world, okay? Like, this is not the win that Prince Harry and Meghan think it is, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, let's just watch day one of Meghan pretending to be Princess Diana and Prince Harry thinking he's the one to save the royal family on this fake royal tour.
Another point critics often bring up involves her relationship with her father. Thomas Markle has faced serious health struggles over the years, including a reported leg amputation and multiple strokes. In interviews, he has publicly said many times that he hopes for something simple, a phone call or some kind of contact from his daughter. At the same time, critics point to moments like the Middle East trip, where Meghan was photographed holding the hand of a young burn survivor during a public visit. To them, that contrast feels striking. They argue the cameras captured a compassionate global moment, while the situation with her own father has remained distant and unresolved.
Although the nation's King Abdullah skipped out of the meeting. Yeah, we reported on that too. He blew them off. Go check out our last video. Harry and Meghan did, however, see the princess, the aunt, whatever. But yeah, she was reenacting moves made by her mother-in-law, Princess Diana. She was pictured smiling beside the bedside of a 14-year-old burn victim. I just find all this awful. Did you get permission from these kids to publicize and use their images for your own branding.
Critics say moments like that are difficult to explain away with simple PR messaging. No carefully written statement seems to fully answer the questions people raise about it. For many observers, this isn't just a media headline or a political debate. They see it as something more personal, a human story. And audiences tend to notice the difference when a situation feels that real.
I've got so much to say about this, by the way, because Jordan, I'm sure you know, is also one of the happy places for Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, where she grew up. And Meghan is just cosplaying Diana here in a cringe and creepy way. The clear sort of messaging coming from Montecito is, we're the future. We're now going to be the real royals. But actually, all of us are looking at this like, what the hell? You have just involved yourself in the biggest geopolitical dispute in the world, which you know divides everyone, and you're doing it without a second thought.
And right in the middle of all this stands Harry. Some observers say he now looks like someone slowly realizing the true cost of the choices he made over the past few years. He stepped away from his family, left his country, distanced himself from his brother, and walked away from the military career and royal role that had shaped much of his life. That royal institution had given him structure, responsibility, and a clear place in the world, and critics often point out that many people around him warned exactly how difficult those decisions could become later.
It's always a battle for dominance because Harry, yes, has ceded dominance to Meghan, but at the same time, he sort of regrets that and sometimes wants it back. And so I think there's always a level of resentment and tension between them because their relationship is not made of equals.
Critics often point to the warnings that surfaced before the wedding. Reports said his brother William had serious conversations with him, urging him to slow down and think carefully about the future. Even Meghan's own half-brother once released a public letter asking Harry to reconsider the marriage before it happened. Those moments are frequently brought up in discussions about the early days of the relationship. Over time, some commentators argue that many of Harry's longtime friends slowly faded from his inner circle as well. To them, it doesn't look like a simple love story, it looks like a very clear and recognizable pattern.
Think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the...
For many longtime royal watchers, it has been strange and emotional to witness the transformation of someone they once admired so much. Some say it feels less like simple frustration and more like a sense of disappointment or even grief. Because from their perspective, Harry was warned again and again by people around him. Friends, family, and insiders raised concerns, but in the end, critics argue he may have been the only one who seemed shocked by how everything unfolded.
But actually, Tash, what I was going to say is that I still really sense a deep unhappiness when I see Harry in a lot of these pictures, you know.
And that leads straight to a question many royal commentators say King Charles has avoided for a long time, the issue of the titles. The titles Duke and Duchess of Sussex are still attached, still active, and still part of the public identity surrounding Harry and Meghan. Critics argue those titles continue to give the entire operation a sense of platform, legitimacy, and real commercial value.
Where you feel like royalty. Because Harry and Meghan have to constantly keep feeling like they're royalty. Because they're grifters. They're faking it. There was nothing royal about this tour. You can stay in the same suite as William and Catherine, but it doesn't make the visit royal.
Critics argue that if those titles were ever removed, the entire structure around their public brand could shift overnight. Without the royal connection, some believe many of the major opportunities and partnerships might look very different. Trips linked to global organizations could become harder to frame in the same way, and the humanitarian image they promote might lose a key part of its foundation. Because of that, some commentators say the debate about removing the titles has never been louder.
Why are these two going? How much does it cost for these two to go? And why do they keep allowing this to happen? I don't get it. Now, as you'll remember, they did, similar visits to Nigeria, Colombia. They love these faux royal tours to go out there to make it seem like they're, royals, when we all know they're not.
Critics say the Middle East trip looked almost like a freelance diplomatic tour. It happened without official palace approval and without formal coordination with the British government. Yet at the same time, Harry and Meghan were still introduced and recognized using their royal titles, which meant the weight and symbolism of the monarchy followed them everywhere they appeared.
What do you make of the fact that Harry and Meghan now seem to be going all in on this hard left ideology? Because you've obviously got the Hamas talking points that they were criticized in the Middle East for, and this woman is anything but someone who's on the mainstream. It's almost as if they have realized that their only base now is the hard left extremist base.
During the trip, Harry also made comments about Gaza that quickly stirred controversy. Some officials in Israel publicly pushed back, saying parts of his remarks were factually incorrect. One senior Israeli official even responded directly on the record, challenging Harry's statements and inviting him to come and see the situation firsthand, rather than rely on information he may have been given.
Duke of Sussex's comments claiming Israel had shut humanitarian corridors are deeply disappointing for amplifying fake narratives, or false narratives, excuse me. And this is the direct quote from the Israeli government official on the record. Prince Harry, with all due respect, before using your global platform to level accusations against Israel, I would suggest a very simple step. Come and see for yourself. I personally invite you to visit the humanitarian corridor and witness firsthand how aid is coordinated and delivered.
Critics say the situation created an extraordinary moment. A member of the British royal family was publicly challenged by a foreign government during a trip that had no official palace approval, and all of it happened while the royal titles were still being used.
Charles and Camilla were out at St. James's Palace yesterday, delivering awards, and of course, Charles not looking well at all. Now, I'm going to get into just a moment why Harry and Meghan claim, they're not taking sides in the whole Israel-Palestine thing. Bullshit.
Critics argue this situation goes far beyond celebrity gossip. In their view, it risks becoming a real diplomatic complication for the monarchy. That's why some commentators are now openly calling for decisive action. They say the titles should be removed, their position in the line of succession reconsidered, and their connection to official royal platforms fully clarified in public.
These two grifters and fake have decided this is the moment to embark on a new fake royal tour, this time of the Middle East, where she's literally trying to claim she's the queen of the desert in Jordan.
Critics argue that every week this situation continues creates another moment of uncomfortable association for the royal family. The longer the debate drags on, the more the monarchy's image becomes tied to the ongoing controversy. And they point back to that Saturday Night Live joke, where the punchline suggested Meghan had fallen even lower in public perception than Prince Andrew.
It's announced yesterday was this surprise trip to Jordan in partnership with the World Health Organization. Now, 1 week right after the arrest of Harry's uncle, ex-Prince Andrew, they are traveling to Jordan for this humanitarian visit to focus on global health and mental health support. Of course, these two morons apparently are helping the mental health of refugees. But yeah, they're there today. We have some reports on what they've been doing today, as well as they'll be there tomorrow, February 26th. The royal family has been informed of the trip, of course, because they got to just poke them as much as they can, which comes 1 week after ex-Prince Andrew's arrest and is being undertaken as a humanitarian visit in partnership with, as I said, the World Health Organization.
Come back to that SNL joke one last time. Not because it's the biggest issue in this entire story, it isn't. There are other topics critics say matter far more. The online rumors about yachts, the old photographs involving Andrew, the questions surrounding the foundation's activity, the painful situation with her father, and the ongoing debate about royal titles. All of those points are raised again and again by commentators, but the joke still matters for one powerful reason. For many observers, it signaled something bigger. It gave the public permission to laugh, question, and openly discuss topics that used to feel completely untouchable.
Saturday Night Live in the Weekend Update for the second time roasting Meghan Markle. This is gonna hurt. Watch.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
When a left-leaning American comedy institution that spent years treating Harry and Meghan sympathetically suddenly places Meghan in a punchline right beside Prince Andrew, and the audience erupts with laughter, something major shifts in the cultural mood. Because moments like that signal a change, people who once felt hesitant to criticize, commentators who softened their opinions, and even friends who stayed quiet on social media suddenly feel the atmosphere changing. For many observers, it looks like a signal that the conversation has opened up. People who kept their thoughts to themselves for years now feel far more comfortable saying exactly what they think.
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew.
Yeah, boy.
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
And here's the reality about public permission. Once the atmosphere changes and people feel free to speak, that shift is almost impossible to reverse. The online questions about the yachts keep getting louder. The speculation about Andrew still lingers in the background. Critics say the foundation now looks weaker than expected, while the royal titles are still in place. Diplomatic controversy has already made headlines, and the painful situation involving her father continues to be discussed by commentators.
Past set to be exposed in a new documentary that's finally going to air next month. Let's put it this way, I smell a scared little...
And somewhere in the background of all this drama, critics say one figure is quietly watching it unfold. Prince Andrew, a royal whose reputation took one of the biggest falls in modern British history, is, according to some observers, reportedly following these developments with a small, knowing smile, which leaves one final question hanging in the air. What exactly could Prince Andrew be so quietly amused about, and how long before the public discovers the full story people keep hinting at? If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps keep these conversations going.